Good day, sports fans. Thank you so much for joining us for this Lecture 7 of the Cricket South Africa Level 1 Umpiring course hosted by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. My name is Abdullah Steenkamp and my co-host this evening will be Tom Okarosi. The format of tonight's lecture will be as follows. I'm kicking off and I will cover a few revision slides. So this is a very important lecture. Take note of these revision slides as they will help you in the exam. After I've gone through the revision slides, I will then hand over to Tom. Tom will then take us through a few exam logistics, as well as he's going to take us through an online exam demonstration, click by click, on how the exam works, how you go through, how you register. But to kick off, I'm going to cover a few of the revision slides. So it will not be all the slides that we've covered in the lecture. It's just slides that we chose that will help you. And if you go through these slides and plus your law book, you will definitely pass the exam. Tom mentioned last week that we try to get the lead umpire Loudon Palika on tonight's show. Unfortunately, Loudon is not available, but we will definitely get him, God willing, for those of you that's going to join us for our level 2 course somewhere in April. So the first of the revision slides, number of players, and here I want to focus on usually matches played between two sides of 11 each, but the law is flexible. The law allows for matches to be played between sides of more than 11 or even fewer than 11. But if you do decide to play the game more than 11 aside, the law guides us by telling us not more than 11 players may field at any given time. So if you are playing 15 aside, all 15 cannot field at once. Only a max of 11 players on the field at any given time. When it comes to the nomination and the replacement of players, before the toss, each captain must nominate their players, and this nomination needs to be in writing. So on the right is an example of a nomination sheet that we use here in for club cricket in Cape Town. Captains needs to complete this sheet, and when they come to the toss, they hand this over to the umpires. Are we allowed to change any of the players or any of the nominated players? Yes, the law allows for it, but there is one condition. You need the permission of the opposing captain to change any player after the nomination was done. You need permission of the opposing captain. When it comes to the umpires needs to be at the ground 45 minutes before play is about to start. There are lots of duties that the umpires needs to perform. That's why 45 minutes before play starts. So if it is a 10 o'clock start, umpires latest needs to be there by 9:15 a.m. Are we allowed to change the umpire? Yes, the law allows for an umpire to be changed. An umpire can become injured or ill, or there could be exceptional circumstances. But there are certain conditions if we are to change the umpire. What are those conditions? Firstly, if we are going to change the umpire, the replacement umpire can only stand at the striker's end. That's the one condition. But there is a but to this condition. And that but is, if both captains, and emphasis on both, if both captains agree that this replacement umpire can take full power in this game, then the replacement umpire can stand at bowler's end and at striker's end. Who are the judges of fair and unfair plays? The captains, coaches, players? No. Umpires and umpires alone. They are the sole judges of fair and unfair play. Who decides on the fitness of play? Who decides if the field's ready to play? Who decides if the light is good enough to play? Again, the coaches, players, captains? No, again, the law is clear. Umpires and together, and umpires alone, they decide whether conditions of ground, weather, or light means it would be dangerous or unreasonable for play to take place. So umpires alone, they make that judgment call about conditions of ground, weather, or light. When it comes to suspension of play in dangerous or unreasonable conditions, if one umpire feels it is too dark and while play is in progress, play needs to be suspended immediately. When it comes to the position of the umpires, where must the umpire stand? Let's start with the bowlers in umpire. The law guides us by telling us bowlers in umpire needs to stand where he or she can see best to make their decision. They should not interfere with the bowler's run-up or the striker's view. So that's the guidance that the law gives us when it comes to the bowlers in umpire. So where does the strikers in umpire stand? The law guides us as well. Firstly, the law tells us strikers in umpire, as per the rule, needs to stand on the onside, needs to stand on the leg side of the pitch. That's where the strikers in umpire needs to stand 99% of the time. But there are instances where, and the law allows for this, where standing on the onside or the leg side is not the best position for the strikers in. An example of this, or two examples, the late setting sun. If you stand on the leg side, the sun will be in your eyes. Sometimes you can have lots of fielders that surround the bat, short leg slip, lots of fielders, and they might be blocking your view of the popping crease and or the stumps. So the law is flexible when it comes to where the strikers in umpire stand. So usually strikers in should be standing on the leg side, but if due to late setting sun or players around the bat, the law is flexible and say, yes, strikers in umpire, you can go stand on the offside. And if you do decide to stand on the offside, strikers in umpire needs to inform the captain of the fielding side, the striker, and the umpire. So there are three parties that needs to be informed that if the strikers and umpire do decide to go stand on the offside instead of the onside. So be careful in the exam. If they do tell you strikers and umpire only needs to inform the captain that he or she is going to stand on the onside. So yes, technically it is only 33% true. Why? Because there are three parties that needs to be informed. Fielding side striker and the other umpire. So be careful. Look at the statement. Don't fall. If you see captain of the fielding side, yes, that seems correct. No, all three parties needs to be informed. And if they don't say all three parties, the question is incorrect. Scorers. What are the duties of the scorers? They need to record all runs, all wickets taken, and the number of overs bowled. Those are the duties of the scorers. And importantly, they need to sit next to each other and make sure that their books tie up, that their records agree, and they need to acknowledge all signals given to them by the umpires. When it comes to the ball, the law allows in modern cricket, firstly, that a new ball to be taken at the start of the innings. In modern cricket, the law also allow after 80 overs are bowled that the captain of the fielding side has the option of taking a second new ball. But that option is only available after 80 overs, not 70, not 60, 80 overs. When it comes to the bat, we're only going to focus on the dimensions, starting with the length of the bat. This is now the overall length from top to bottom. In centimeters, 96.52. Bat must not be longer than 96.52 meters. So 96.52 centimeters. When it comes to the blade of the bat, here the law guides us by telling us the blade, the dimensions must not exceed the following. The width, 10.8 centimeters. The depth, 6.7. And lastly, the edges, 4 centimeters. The creases. Here I'm giving you 10 free marks. They're going to ask you the names of the creases. They're going to ask you for certain measurements. There's going to be a picture in the exam. You need to correctly identify the creases and you need to give the correct measurements. So this is practically how it looks. There are 3 creases. The front crease, where my arrow is hovering, that's called the popping crease. There are 2 return creases. The side one here on the left, that's the one return crease, and there's a return crease on the other side. And then the third crease is called the bowling crease, and that's the crease where the stumps are pitched in. So 3 creases: bowling, 2 return creases, and a popping crease. So what are these lengths? Let's have a look. Let's start with the length of the pitch. 20.12 meters or 22 yards. You can answer in anyway in the exam. I prefer the metric system. The tape measurements are in metric, so it's much easier. 20.12 meters. That's the length of the pitch and is measured from the back edge of the bowling crease on the one side right up until the back edge of the bowling crease on the other side. The length from the back edge of the bowling crease until the back edge of the popping crease, if you can just follow the arrows here, is 1.22 meters. The length of the 2 return creases, and here there's a minimum length. The minimum length of the return crease is 2.44 meters. The minimum length of the popping crease, 3.66 meters. So the return and the popping crease are minimum lengths. The 2 other lengths are exact lengths. This 1.22 meters is an exact length, measured from the back edge of the bowling crease till the back edge of the popping crease. And the other exact length is the length of the bowling crease. And that exact length is 2.64 meters. Measured from, if you see where the arrow ends here, from the inside edge of the one return crease until the inside edge of the other return crease, that length is 2.64 meters. And that's an exact length. A tip, I memorize this one length, this 1.22 meters, and I can derive 2 other measurements from just memorizing this one length. This 1.22 meters, if I multiply this number by 2, what do I get? 1.22 times 2 is 2.44 meters. Which length is 2.44? The return crease. Then I can derive another measurement from this 1.22 meters. If I take 1.22 meters and I multiply it by 3, What number do I get? 3.66 meters. And which measurement is 3.66? The minimum length of the popping crease. For one measurement, I can derive two other measurements from it. So know these measurements. Another tip about the measurements. There will be a diagram in your exam. Please take note of the arrows in your diagram. And what do I mean by the arrows? Follow where the arrow starts and where the arrow ends up. I'll give you an example. If the arrow on your popping crease starts here by the middle stump and goes this way, they're only looking for half the measurement of the popping crease, not the full one. If the arrow in your pick in the exam starts here and it ends right on the other side, then they're looking for the full length of your popping crease. Similarly, your bowling crease. If the arrow in your pick in the exam starts from the back edge of the one return crease up until the back edge of the other return crease, they're looking for the full length of the bowling crease, which is 2.64 meters. If in your pick in the exam, the arrow only starts here by the middle stump and it goes till the back edge of the one return crease, they are looking for half the measurement of the bowling crease, which is 1.32 meters. So take note, you follow your arrows. They're looking for the full bowling crease. You need to give the full length, 2.64. Similarly, with the popping crease, look at your arrows. They show the full length. They're looking for 3.66. They only show half that popping crease. They're only looking for half of 3.66. When it comes to the preparation and maintenance of the playing area in Morday cricket, the pitch in the outfield after the game has started, the law wants the pitch and the outfield to be mowed on day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. What are the timings of these mowing? Mowing of the pitch needs to be done 30 minutes before play is about to start. So if play on day 2 starts 10 o'clock, by 9:30 the pitch needs to be mowed. When it comes to the outfield, 15 minutes before play is about to start. So if play starts at 10 o'clock, that outfield needs to be mowed by 9:45. What about rolling of the pitch after the game has started? The law guides us. In terms of the duration of this rolling, not more than 7 minutes. So after the match has started, can the pitch be rolled? We'll see now when it can be rolled. But in terms of the length or the duration, not more than 7 minutes. So can you roll the pitch for 6 minutes? Yes, of course you can. Can you roll it for 5 minutes? Of course. For 3 minutes? Yes. 1 minute? Of course. All the law tells us not more than 7 minutes. So now we know how long the pitch can be rolled. And after the game has started, pitch to be rolled before the start of each subsequent innings. For the start of the let's say test match between Zimbabwe and Australia and South Africa. South Africa wins the toss and bat first. So as soon as South Africa is dismissed in their first innings, Zimbabwe will go bat in their first innings, and then the law allows for rolling. There'll be a 10-minute change of innings. The law allows for maximum of 7-minute rolling. Also, before the start of each subsequent day's play, before the start of day 2, the law allows for rolling. Before the start of day 3, it allows for rolling, and before the start of day 4 or 5 in your test match, it allows for rolling. When can this rolling take place? If it's between innings, there's 10 minutes between innings, so rolling to take place then. Before the start of the subsequent day's play, day 2, day 3, day 4, and 5, rolling, there's a 20-minute window period. Rolling needs to happen, if it's a 10 o'clock start, anytime between 9:30 and 9:50. So it can happen at 9:30, 9:31, 9:35, 9:40, anytime between 9:30 and 9:50 if it's a 10 o'clock start. Usually at international and provincial grounds, they'll have more than one roller available. Captain can choose whichever roller he or she wants. When it comes to the intervals, let's start with what is seen in the law as a scheduled interval. These are intervals that are decided by the governing body of cricket for that competition before the game started. First example of a scheduled interval is period between close of play on day one and the start of the next day's play. Your interval between innings, which is 10 minutes, that is also seen as a scheduled interval. Your interval for lunch and tea in modern cricket, seen as a scheduled interval. Your drinks interval, scheduled interval. And lastly, any other agreed interval. These are 5 examples of scheduled intervals. How long are these intervals? The governing body of cricket for that competition, they decide. Like in Test match cricket, the International Cricket Council, they the governing body. So the ICC decided that lunch will be 40 minutes and tea 20 minutes. So the interval for your lunch, I'll use lunch as an example. So in Test match cricket, let's say lunch is at 12 o'clock. And if the final ball gets bowled at 12 o'clock, players needs to enjoy a 40-minute lunch. So first ball after lunch should be bowled at 12:40. It's not always that you can in at exactly 12. So if the over ends at 12:03, and then you call time and lunch, overtime and lunch, players needs to enjoy, and umpires needs to enjoy a 40-minute lunch. So first ball after lunch will be bowled at 12:43 if we call time at 12:03. I mentioned earlier, 10-minute, the innings between interval between innings will always be 10 minutes. There are some flexibility that the lawmakers brought into when it comes to our interval between innings. They tell us that if an innings ends 10 minutes or less before the agreed close of play time, no further play. It will be stumps. Let's say our close of play is 5 o'clock. If an innings ends at 16:55, the law tells us it will be stumps at 16:45 because the innings ended 10 minutes or less to lunch. To the close of play. Yes, we ended 5 minutes earlier, but the law tells us please don't start 5 minutes earlier the following day. Law also brought flexibility in when it comes to our tea interval. So first flexibility is if an innings ends 30 minutes or less before the agreed time for tea, we will take tea immediately. Let's say our tea is 3 o'clock. If South Africa gets dismissed at 14:40, what will happen next? We will take tea immediately. Why? Because 14:40 is 20 minutes to go to tea, and because this is less than 30 minutes to go till tea, we will take an early tea. Tea will be from 14:40 till 1500 hours, 20 minutes. There will be a change of innings during tea, and we will include it in our tea interval. Second flexibility that the lawmakers brought when it comes to our tea, if when 30 minutes remains before the tea time and there's already a change of innings in progress, play shall resume at the end of the 10-minute interval. So if tea is at 3 o'clock, at 14:25, South Africa gets dismissed. So what happens next? We cannot activate clause 6.1 because at 14:25 it is 35 minutes to go till tea. So now we will have a 10-minute change of innings from 14:25 till 14:35. Zimbabwe will come out to bat at 14:35 and they will play until 3 o'clock when we will take tea. More flexibility that the lawmakers brought into when it comes to our tea interval. If a side is 9 wickets down when it comes to our tea or our lunch interval, you need to extend play for a max of 30 minutes. We want to see whether we'll give the fielding side an opportunity to try to take the final wicket. And this is flexibility that the lawmakers brought in to save a bit of time because we have lots of stats that shows usually the last wicket, they don't survive too long out in the middle. But you can only play a max of 30 minutes extra. But that is only if the side is 9 wickets down. When it comes to the interval for drinks, the law doesn't tell us how long it should be, but they just guide us by telling us drinks do not be more than 5 minutes. If a wicket do falls with 5 minutes to go till drinks, we will take drinks immediately. But that wicket must fall or a batter must retire within 5 minutes to drinks. We will then take an early drink. When it comes to the start of play, in this law 12, I only want to focus on one subsection, and that is the completion of an over. The law wants the over to be completed before an interval is taken. There's one exception, and we'll get to it later in the slide. You first please complete the over before taking your interval. So let's say our lunch is at 12 o'clock, and we look at our watch and we see it's 12 o'clock, but there's only 4 balls was bowled in the over. You will not take lunch at 12 o'clock. You first complete the over. You first will bowl that 2 balls, then you will take lunch time. First complete the over, then take your interval. There is a but. And what is that but? That but is if less than 3 minutes remains before the time for the interval, and either a batter is dismissed or a batter retires, you will then take your interval immediately. If it happens mid-over, after the interval or interruption, you'll complete the over. I'll give an example to illustrate this. Our lunch in our test match is 12 o'clock. Let's say South Africa is batting, and South Africa is 200 for the loss of 3 wickets. And lunch is 12. At 11:58, the Zimbabwean team takes the 4th wicket. 11:58, the 4th wicket falls. So now what happens? It happened, the wicket fell on the 4th ball of the over. So must we allow the new batter to come in to face the remaining 2 balls? No. The law tells us in this instance, because it's less than 3 minutes to go to tea, and the emphasis is it must be less than 3 minutes to go to the interval. And if a wicket falls or a batter retires, you'll take early lunch or tea. So in our example, a wicket fell at 11:58. We'll take early lunch. Lunch will then be from 11:58 up until 12:58. So yes, we stop mid with 4 balls into the over. So after lunch, when we restart at 12:38, we will first complete that 2 balls of the over, then we'll start a new over. When it comes to the innings, I just want to focus on the toss and when as soon as the toss is made, what needs to be done. So when it comes to the toss, who needs to be there? Where does it need to happen? And what are the timings of the toss? The law wants both captains to be at the toss, non-negotiable. The law also wants both umpires to be there, but a little bit flexible, at least one umpire to be there. Preferably both, but at least one umpire. So both captains and at least one umpire. So now we know who needs to be there. Where does the toss take place? According to law, anywhere on the field of play. So where's anywhere on the field of play? As soon as, let's say, there's a boundary rope around the field. As soon as you put your foot across the boundary rope, that is technically on the field of play. So technically, the toss can take place right as soon as you put your foot inside the field of play. But we all know, customary, it's been so for many centuries, toss takes place right next to the match pitch on the square, but that is custom, law, anyway on the field of play. Timing of the toss, there's a 15-minute window period. If the game starts at 10 o'clock, toss can take place anytime between 9:30 and 9:45. As soon as the captain wins the toss, that captain needs to inform the opposing captain immediately whether they're going to bat or bowl. They cannot say, umpire, let me first go chat to my coach or team. No, they need to tell you now whether they're batting or bowling, and once that decision has made, it cannot be changed. In modern cricket, there's this concept of the follow-on. So in Test match cricket, which spans over 5 days, the side which bats first, the lead needs to be at least 200 runs. And if the lead is 200 runs, the captain has the option to ask the other side to follow on. The option is on the table. Captain does not have to exercise the option. Captain's got the prerogative whether you see wants the other side to follow on or not if the lead in a 5-day test match or more is at least 200 runs. We all know that not all more-day cricket spans over 5 days. Like here in South Africa, we do play provincial cricket over 4 days. We also play Colts cricket, which is basically under 23 side. They play over 3 days. The law also make provision for 2-day matches and 1-day matches where you can have more than one innings per side. But when it comes to what the minimum lead should be in a 3 and a 4-day game, 150. In a 2-day match, 100 runs, and in a 1-day match, 75 runs. Captain that decides, yes, I want the other side to follow on, must notify the opposing captain immediately, whether they want them to follow on or not, but they must say immediately, yes, I want you to follow on, or no, I don't want to follow on. I'm happy to go bat again in my second innings. Lastly, on this law, if the first day's play is lost, so emphasis on first day's play. No play took place on the first day of the match. So if that happens, then when it comes to the follow-on lead, you look at the remaining days left in your game and you apply the relevant minimum lead for the remaining days. So in our test match, that spans over 5 days. If no play takes place on day 1, and we start on the morning of day 2, so now it will be technically a 4-day test match. And because no play took place on day 1, it's going to be a 4-day test match. You now need to look at, in terms of the minimum lead, what the law tells us. And for a 4-day game, minimum lead should be at least 150. When it comes to the declaration, the law allows for the batting captain to declare. So the batting captain, and emphasis on batting captain, has the option to declare an innings close whenever the ball is dead during that innings. Batting captain has that option to declare. Similarly, when it comes to forfeiture of an innings, the law allows for it, and captain may forfeit either of their side's innings before the commencement of that innings. And then also, as soon as a captain decides to declare or to forfeit an innings, that as soon as that decision is made, it then cannot be changed. When it comes to the over, 6 balls per over needs to be bowled alternately from each end. When do the overs start? Do the over start when you bowl 1 ball? Or when does the over start? The over starts as soon as the bowler begins his or her run-up. Lots of players think it starts when you bowl the first ball. No, it starts when that bowler takes his or her first step. That's when the over starts. And if the bowler doesn't have a run-up, when his or her bowling action starts, i.e. when that back foot lands. Boundaries, I'm only going to focus on how do you identify and mark the boundary. So preferably to mark the boundary by a continuous white line or by an object in contact with the ground like a rope. If the boundary is marked by a white line, the edge of the line nearest to the pitch, and emphasis on nearest to the pitch, shall be the boundary. In the next slide, we'll see a graphic that will explain this much easier. There's not always at all grounds that you do have a white line or a rope that indicates the boundary or identify the boundary. The law allows for flags, posts, boards to be used, and the law just tells us if we are going to use flags or posts or boards or bricks, whatever, they there to highlight the position. They must be placed beyond the boundary and is not itself seen as the boundary. I mentioned earlier about the graphic. So here you can see where the boundary is if it is a solid white line. That inside edge, that is where the boundary is. If there's a picket fence, where the arrow points, that's where the boundary is. Similarly to the rope, the nearest to the pitch, that is where the boundary is, that inside edge. Similarly to post and to flags. When it comes to dead ball, I'm only going to focus on the 8 instances that the ball automatically becomes dead. There are 14 instances where the umpire needs to call and signal dead ball, but for the purpose of this exam, I'm only going to focus on when the ball automatically becomes dead. When it finally settles in the hands of the keeper or the bowler, the ball automatically becomes dead. And that when it finally settles, that's a decision for the umpires to make. When a boundary is scored, as soon as a boundary 6 or 4 is scored, the ball automatically becomes dead. As soon as a batter is dismissed, ball automatically becomes dead. Whether played or not, the ball gets trapped between the bat and person of a batter or between items of the batter's clothing or equipment, ball automatically becomes dead. Whether played or not, the ball lodges in the clothing or equipment of a batter or even the clothing of an umpire, ball automatically becomes dead. If the ball hits the helmet that was placed by the fielding side behind the keeper, as soon as that ball hits the helmet while the ball is in play, ball automatically becomes dead. Ball also automatically becomes dead. Under Law 25, if a player that returns without permission touches the ball, the moment that fielder touches the ball automatically becomes dead. Also illegal fielding under Law 28, as soon as there's illegal fielding, the ball automatically becomes dead. And lastly, as soon as the match is done, as soon as the winning runs is hit, match is concluded, ball automatically becomes dead. When it comes to no ball, there's a few subsections that we're covering here. Let's start with the feet. There will be diagrams in the exam, so you need to know exactly when it comes to the feet how the law works. The law looks at the back foot and the front foot differently. Let's start with the back foot and see what the law tells us, what we need to look at when it comes to the bowler's back foot. So when it comes to the back foot, there's a crease that goes with the back foot. And that crease is the return crease. So what about the return crease and what about the back foot? The law wants that back foot to land within, and it should not be touching the return crease. If that back foot lands and it touches that return crease, you must call and signal no ball. So the crease that goes with the back foot is the return crease. When it comes to the front foot, we'll now see which crease goes with the front foot. So the law wants, when it comes to the front foot, to have part of the foot whether grounded or raised behind the back edge of the popping crease, or on the same side of the imaginary line joining the two middle stumps. So when it comes to the front foot, there must be part of the front foot whether grounded or raised behind the back edge of the popping crease. And if not, you need to call and signal no ball. I've got a few pics that will illustrate how the theory works. So this is a right-arm bowler bowling over the wicket. Let's start with the front foot. Which crease goes with the front foot? The popping crease. Is there any part of the front foot whether grounded or raised behind the back edge of the popping crease? Yes, there is. So happy with the front foot? No issue. Let's look at the back foot. Is the back foot touching the return crease? Yes, it is. That's why this is a no ball. Next pick. Right arm bowler over the wicket. Again, front foot way behind the popping crease. So no issue with the popping crease, with the front foot. Is the back foot touching the return crease? No, it's not. Yes, it is hovering over the return crease, but it's not touching the return crease. And that's why this is a fair delivery. The law wants that back foot to touch the return crease. This is now a left-arm bowler bowling around the wicket. So let's start with the front foot. Which crease goes with the front foot? The popping crease. Is there any part of the front foot touching the behind the back edge of the popping crease? There's quite a bit of the front foot behind the back edge of the popping crease, so we're happy with the front foot. The back foot, is the back foot touching the return crease? No, it's not. That's why this is a fair delivery. Again, left arm bowler bowling around the wicket. Is the front foot behind the back edge of the popping crease? Yes, it is. So no issue with the front foot. Back foot, is it touching the return crease? Yes, it is. That's why this is a no ball. Now we're going back to right arm bowling, right arm bowler over the wicket. Back foot, not touching the return crease, so we're happy with the back foot. Front foot, is the part of the front foot with a grounded or raised behind the back edge of the popping crease? Your judgment point is this back edge, not the front edge here, the back edge of the popping crease. So yes, there's still a portion behind the back edge of the popping crease, so this is a fair delivery. To start with the back foot, no issue with the back foot because it's not touching the return crease. Front foot, is the part of the front foot behind the back edge of the popping crease? No, there's not. That's why this is a no ball. Back foot, we're happy. It's not touching the return crease. Front foot, is the part of the front foot behind the back edge of the popping crease? No, there's not. That's why this is a no ball. And importantly, please look at where the front foot first that first landing, and not where the front foot ends up. Back foot, not touching the return crease, so we're happy. Front foot, is the part of the front foot with a grounded or raised behind the back edge of the popping crease? Yes, there is a small portion of the foot behind the back edge, so fair delivery. Back foot, we're happy, not touching the return crease. Front foot, there's no part of the front foot behind the back edge of the popping crease, hence no ball. Earlier I mentioned the law wants the bowler to stay on the same side of the imaginary line joining the two middle stump. This is a left arm bowler bowling over the wicket, but look where that left foot, front foot lands. It's landing on the other side of the imaginary line joining the two middle stump. That's why this is a no ball. Next subsection under the no ball. Ball bouncing more than once or rolling along the ground. An emphasis on more than once. Please take note. Ball is not allowed to bounce more than once or roll along the ground. If the umpire considers that the ball that's been delivered bounces more than once before reaching the popping crease, you need to call and signal no ball. But that second bounce needs to be before the popping crease. If the second bounce is after the popping crease, it will be a fair delivery. And then also, if the ball rolls along the ground before reaching the popping crease, please, you need to intervene as the umpire by calling and signaling no ball. But please take note, ball is not allowed to bounce more than once. And lastly, on this subsection, if the ball pitches wholly or partially off the pitch before the bowler's bowling crease or before the line of the striker's wicket, you need to call and signal no ball. Under the white ball law, there's only one subsection that we're covering here, and that is when it comes to calling and signaling wide, please, umpires, only call and signal wide when the ball passes the striker's wicket. Don't be in a rush to call wide. Wait till the ball passes the striker's wicket. Then you call and signal wide. Although, technically, as per the law sees the ball or consider the ball to have been wide from the instant that the bowler enters his or her delivery stride, i.e. that moment the back foot lands, that is technically when the ball is wide already. But in terms of verbally calling it, please wait until it passes the striker's wicket. Wide, not to count as one for the over. And then lastly, how can you be dismissed of a wide? 4 ways: hit wicket, obstructing the field, run out, and lastly, stumped. These are the only 4 ways how you can be dismissed of a no ball. When it comes to the fielder's absence and substitutes, let's start with the substitutes. When do we allow a substitute as umpires? If we, the umpires, are satisfied that the fielders became injured or ill, and this injury or illness happened during the game, or for a wholly acceptable reason, we'll also allow a substitute fielder. Substitute fielders, they have very limited powers. They're not allowed to bowl, they're not allowed to bat, they're not allowed to be captain. Yes, they can be the wicket keeper, but for the substitute to be a wicket keeper, you need the consent of the opposing captain. If a player leaves the field during the game or does not take the field at the start of the game, the law tells us that we need to, as soon as the player wants to leave the field, that player needs to inform the umpire. Umpire, I will need to leave the field. I need to have my hamstring looked at. You, the umpire, take out your notebook and write down the name of the player, why the player is leaving, and the time the player is leaving. We'll see now the importance of the time that the player left, why this is so important. Secondly, before that player comes onto the field, that player needs to inform you. That player needs your consent before being allowed back onto the field. Why is it so important that we need the umpire, or the injured player that received treatment need the umpire's consent? We need to write down the time that that player came back. So why is it important that we need to know the time? We need to know when the player left the field. We also need to know the time the player returned. Why is that length so important? When it comes to point 3, this concept is known in the law as penalty time. That player, before he or she is allowed to bowl, needs to be on the field of play the same amount of time that he or she is off, up to a max of 90 minutes. So if a player left the field at 10:30 to have a hamstring looked at, and that player returned to the field at 11 o'clock, so that player was off for 30 minutes. Before that player is allowed to bowl, that player needs to field for 30 minutes. So you'll tell that player and the fielding captain, players only allowed to bowl at 11:30. Penalty time doesn't disappear. It gets carried forward into the next innings, into the next day. You won't carry it into the next match, but while this game is in progress, it doesn't disappear. You'll find sometimes player go on and off quite a few times. If a player goes on and off, you'll add up all those times that the player goes on and off. Penalty time doesn't disappear. Player needs to serve that penalty time before he or she is allowed to bowl. And a scheduled interval, you won't add it to any penalty time that the player owes, nor will you subtract it. Law 31 covers appeals, and here I want to focus on the timing of the appeal. There's a window period for appeal to be valid, and the law guides us by telling us, for an appeal to be valid, it must be made before the bowler begins his or her run-up, or if there's no run-up, before his bowling action to deliver the next ball, and before time has been called. So before the next ball is bowled, and before time has been called, that appeal is still valid. Also, even a call of over does not invalidate an appeal. As long as the next ball is not bowled, as long as the bowler did not start his or her run-up, that appeal is still valid. I've just got a few dismissal laws, and then I'm going to hand over to Tom. The first of the dismissal laws that I'm covering is the court law. Let's look at an animation video.
Fair catch. A catch shall be considered fair if the ball is held in a fielder's hand, hugged to the body of the catcher, or accidentally lodges in his or her clothing, helmet, or protective equipment. But of course, this being cricket, it isn't always that simple. If a fielder deliberately uses an item of clothing to try to catch the ball, it is not out, and 5 penalty runs are awarded to the batting side. However, the ball can be caught after it has deflected off the other batsman, an umpire, another fielder, including off a helmet being worn, or even if it lodges in a fielder's helmet. Perhaps the main criterion for a catch to be considered fair is that the ball must not touch the ground before being caught. Here, for example, the ball does not touch the ground even though the hand holding it does so in effecting the catch. This is a fair catch. And then there is the question of catches near the boundary. This is such an interesting subject that we've given it a film all of its own. To catch up on everything to do with catching, simply refer to Law 33 in the Blue Book.
So how many runs get scored if a striker is out caught? 0 runs to be scored if a striker is out caught. But any runs for penalties, that will stand, but 0 runs to be scored. Last week we've covered who's number 1. We said Boss is Bold is Boss, so Bold is number 1, and Caught is number 2. Leg before wicket. Let's look at an animation video. Then we'll go through the points that we consider when there's an LB appeal, and we'll go through a few picks.
Leg before wicket. LBW. LBW is a little like the offside rule in football. Many people claim to know it, but how many people really do? Our handy checklist means that whether you find yourself umpiring an international test match or the kids on the beach, your reputation for fairness will remain intact. There are 5 basic criteria to consider. The batsman is out, leg before wicket, if 1. The bowler bowls a ball that isn't a no ball, unlike this poor fellow. 2. The ball, if it is not intercepted on the full, pitches in line between wicket and wicket or on the offside of the batsman's wicket. It cannot be out if the ball pitches outside the line of the leg stump. 3. The ball hits the batsman either full pitch or after pitching and before he hits it with his bat. 4. This is where it gets a bit more complicated. If the batsman was making a genuine attempt to play the ball, the point of impact must be between wicket and wicket for LBW to be an option. However, if the batsman has made no genuine attempt to play the ball, the contact must either be between wicket and wicket or outside the line of the off stump. 5. This is the crucial part. But for the interception by the batsman, the ball would have gone on to hit the stumps and dislodge the bails. Any questions? Just refer to Law 36 in the Blue Book.
So let's recap on when there is an LBW appeal, what do we consider? Firstly, ball should not be a no ball. It needs to pitch in line between wicket and wicket or on the off side of the wicket. When it comes to pitching, either in line or on the off side. That's why you always hear if a ball pitches outside leg, can never be out LBW. This is why the law is specific. It wants that ball to either pitch in line or on the offside. Ball must never touch the bat first. If the ball touched the bat first, then go on to the pad, always not out. Don't consider LB appeal if the ball touched the bat first. But if the ball touched the pad first, then the bat, then you can consider the LB appeal. There's other factors that you need to take into account, but if pad first, then bat, you can consider. But if bat first, then pad, never LBW. The law tells us the ball can hit any part of the person. Yes, I know they call it LBW, which stands for leg before wicket. And I would say 99% of the time it actually hits the leg. But It can hit any part of the person. Can hit your arm, your head, your tummy, any part. When it comes to the point of impact, yes, the law is also specific. The law wants point of impact to be between wicket and wicket, non-negotiable. But there's one but, and we'll get to it now. Point of impact should always be between wicket and wicket. There's one but where the law allows the impact not to be between wicket and wicket. And that is if the striker did not make a genuine attempt to play at the ball. If no shot was offered, now the law say, okay, when it comes to impact, it can either be between wicket and wicket, or you can even consider if the impact was outside the line of the offside or on the offside. But that is only if there was no shot played. But otherwise, impact should always be between wicket and wicket. And then lastly, you need to ask yourself, after considering the first 5 bullet points, do I think this ball would have gone on to hit the wicket? And if yes, give the striker out LBW. If no, not out LBW. Let's look at a few picks. This is a right-handed batter. Look where the ball pitched. Ball pitched outside leg. That's why 900 out of 100 times, not out LBW. Pitched outside leg. Let's go through the points that we consider. Where did the ball pitch? Pitched between wicket and wicket. Where was the impact? Impact was in line. Would this have gone on to hit the wicket? That's your opinion. If you think it would have gone on, give the batter out LB. If you think, I don't think this is hitting, then not out LB. Where did the ball pitch? The ball can either pitch on the offside or between wicket and wicket. Here the ball pitched on the offside, so we're happy with where it pitched. Impact. Where must the impact be? Impact must be between wicket and wicket. Is this impact between wicket and wicket? No, it's not. The impact is outside off. That's why this is not out LB. Where did the ball pitch? It pitched on the offside, so we're happy with the way it pitched. Where was the impact? The impact was outside off. But, and this is one of those but cases, can you see the batter did not or is not offering a shot? And because of this, you can consider the LB appeal. But there's still that final point that we need to consider. Would the ball have gone on to hit the stumps? If in your opinion, yes, out LB. If you don't think this ball is going on to hit the stumps, not out LB. Where did it pitch? Between wicket and wicket. Where was the impact? Between wicket and wicket. Would it have gone on to hit the stumps? If you think so, give out LB. If you think this is not going on to hit the stumps, not out LBW. Where did the ball pitch? It pitched between wicket and wicket. Where was the impact? Impact was between wicket and wicket. But there's also other factors that we need to take into account. Like, look at the trajectory of this ball. This is a left-arm lander bowling over the wicket. Look at the trajectory. Look at the stride the batter got in. I think this is missing off stump. Not out LB. Similarly, look at where it pitched. It pitched on the offside. The impact was between wicket and wicket. But look at this movement. Batter playing forward. Still lots of travelling distance to the stumps. This is definitely missing leg stump. Pitch outside off. Happy with where it pitched. Impact is in line. But look how high this is on the pad. This is going over the top. Penultimate law that I'm covering, stumped. Let's look at an animation video.
Stumped. All batsmen fear being stumped, and all wicket-keepers dream of stumping batsmen. So let's be clear about the law. The only player who can stump a batsman is this fellow, the wicket-keeper. A stumping can take place provided that the ball is not a no ball. You can be stumped off a wide, however. Here, for example, the batsman has moved out of his or her ground to play the ball, but has missed it and has not attempted a run. The wicket is fairly put down by the wicket-keeper without the intervention of another fielder. When all these conditions are met, the batsman will find that he or she has indeed been stumped. It's also okay for the ball to rebound onto the stumps off any part of the wicket-keeper, including his or her protective equipment or helmet. If it is a no ball, the batsman will not be out-stumped and is also protected from being run out as long as he or she is not attempting a run. Don't be stumped about stumping. Get a copy of the Blue Book and study Law 39.
And the last law that I'm covering before handing over to Tom is the timeout law. So how does the timeout law work? According to law, an emphasis on according to law, as soon as a wicket falls or a batter retires, the incoming batter must be ready to receive the ball, or for the other batter to be ready within 3 minutes of the dismissal or the retirement. And if this requirement is not met, i.e. if the batter is not there within 3 minutes, and if there was an appeal, incoming batter to be given out, timed out. And bowler does not get credit for a timed out wicket. That is all revision slides that I'm covering. Thank you so much. Tom, over to you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Good day to you and good day to the candidates. I am now going to take us all through the logistics that will follow for the next few weeks as we are now going into the exam phase of the course. Thank you very much to the 38 of you who have already paid for your Cricket South Africa Level 1 Umpires exam. The rest of you have until Wednesday, the 25th of March at 6 p.m. South African time to make the necessary payment. The lectures, as you all know, have been free. The exam fee differs depending on where in the world you are. If you are in South Africa, the exam fee is 300 rands and is payable via EFT to the bank account of Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. On all the emails I've been sending throughout the course, the bank account details are detailed on that email. For those of you who are not in South Africa, the exam fee is $30 US, payable preferably using PayPal. And also the link to the PayPal account to make payment of $30 US is on the emails that I have been sending and will continue to send. If you do not have a PayPal account, please ask a family member or a friend who does have a PayPal account to pay on your behalf, and then you can pay them back as you can. If you do not have a PayPal account and you do not have a friend or family member who has a PayPal account, you can reach out to me via email or WhatsApp, and I will give you details of a bank account that can receive international wire transfers. Please note that the Western Province Cricket Umpires Association Standard Bank account cannot receive international transfers. So please do not use those bank account details to try and pay $30 US. The payment will bounce. The exam paid list, I sent one last week Friday. I will send the next one on Wednesday, and I will send it every day from Wednesday, the 18th of March to the deadline day of Wednesday, the 25th of March, just updating everyone who has paid to ensure that I have seen your paid proof of payment and I have captured you on the paid list. Exam link emails, and we will look to see what those exam link emails look like. After this slide, I will be taking you through a click-by-click demonstration of how to start the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam on Umpires Universe's website. Exam links will only be sent to those email addresses who have sent proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za. A few candidates have been sending their automated proof of payment from the bank straight to training@wpcua.co.za. There are 2 candidates who were paid for by their school. I do not know who those candidates are. The reference on the payment just says the name of the school. I do not know who those 2 candidates are. I will not be able to send the exam link emails to those 2 candidates. So please, if you are one of those 2 exam candidates who have been paid for by your school, please reach out to me. Let me know your email addresses. Please note that you may pay for more than one person. Typically, schools do that. If they have 10 coaches that they're going to pay for, they'll make one payment. That is fine. When they send the proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za, I need a list of the email addresses that are being paid for, because you can only get the exam link email from Umpires Universe if I know your email address. So once you get your exam link email from Umpires Universe, how does it work? We will get to a click-by-click demonstration shortly. The exam window period will open on Thursday, the 26th of March at 9 a.m. South African time, when you all should be getting your exam link emails. And it will run for 10 days, and it will close on Sunday, the 5th of April at 8:59 a.m. In that 10 days, remember, it's an open book exam. It is 69 true or false and multiple choice questions. In that 10 days, you will have up to 5 attempts to achieve the pass mark of 80%. That is 55 correct answers out of the 69 questions. Those of you who are good in maths will know that 55 out of 69 is 79.7%. Previously, on the old Umpires Universe website, if you got 55 out of 69, you would not get a pass. But they have subsequently changed that on their new website, and 55 out of 69, which is 79.7%, is rounded up to a pass. Okay, so obviously you need 55 correct answers or more to pass the exam. After every attempt, your results will be displayed immediately on the website, so you will know whether you've passed or you've failed. And if you do pass the exam, then your certificate will be emailed to me at training@wpcua.co.za. What I will do is, within 24 hours of me receiving your certificate, I will forward it to you. And when I forward your Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate, I will also ask you where in the cricketing world you are. Which town or city, which state or province, which country you are, so that if you want to start umpiring, let me know where you are based, and I will, while the exam window period is still on, I will, through my contacts, try and get a contact person and contact details of the Umpires Association closest to you. You will then send your Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate to that contact and ask to join that association. Different umpires associations around the world have different entry requirements. Some might allow you to start umpiring immediately with the Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate. Some might ask you to write another entrance exam. But please note that this will give you a head start. I made a video last week about umpires in India. There's a lot of people wanting to become umpires in India, and each state only takes in a limited number of umpires every year. So how would you get yourself to the front of that queue to try and get into a state umpiring panel in India? The Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate helps you to jump to the front of that queue. So that is the value of the Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate, even outside of South Africa. Across the whole of Africa, this certificate is used as an entry to start umpiring in Africa. If you pass level 1, you are immediately enrolled for our level 2 course, which will start on Tuesday, the 7th of April, also at 6 p.m. South African time. All level 1 passes will be emailed course material on Monday, the 6th of April, the day before the first lecture. Obviously, the 10-day exam window period closes on Sunday, so we will know by Monday who has all passed the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. That is it in terms of all the logistics. I wish all of you a positive exam result and all the best for the official start of your umpiring career. I am now going to take you through a click-by-click demonstration of what the exam looks like. And we are actually going to do the exam together. Obviously not the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam, but we're going to do the Cricket South Africa Introduction to Umpiring exam, which is 35 true or false questions. We have 30 minutes in which to do it, and it will give you an indication of the type of questions that you can expect in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. And when I get to the start of the exam, I will unmute all of your microphones and I will activate your cameras so that we can all participate in the Introduction to Umpiring exam. And that is how we will learn together and also just get a feel of what the level 1 exam looks like. Obviously, the questions are not the same, but the process, the user interface is exactly the same. So on display at the moment are emails that I have received over the years from Umpires Universe. What you will receive on Thursday, the 26th of March is 2 emails from Umpires Universe. The first one will say, welcome to Umpires Universe. And the second one will say you have been enrolled in a new course, and that new course will be Cricket South Africa's Level 1 umpiring course. You only need to use the first email, welcome to Umpires Universe. When you get to that email, you will see that it will have your name. It will tell you welcome to Umpires Universe. It will give you the login address of the website, and it will give you your username and it will give you your password. Okay, so I'm going to click on the address where we are going to log in from. Now, currently I have somebody logged in, so I'm just going to log them out. Apologies for that. So this is the login screen where you will land up on when you click on the link from your email. and you need to copy and paste the information from the email onto the login. I am going to use a candidate who has been registered and enrolled for the Introduction to Umpiring course. I'm going to use his login details because my login details will take me to my account where I have already done the Introduction to Umpiring exam, and I've already done the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. So it wouldn't show you what you would be seeing when you enter for the first time. So copy and paste, and it's important to copy and paste because you will see that these passwords have, firstly, a lot of characters, and usually they have difficult characters to type out. So easiest just to copy and paste. And please note that you can do the exam on a computer, on a tablet, or on your mobile phone. So once you've copied and pasted the username and password, you click on sign in. You will get to your dashboard, which will show you how many courses have been enrolled under your profile, and you should only have one enrolled. Interestingly, you cannot click on the enrolled course here. You need to go into your menu. And if you are doing it on your phone, the menu will be at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So you click on menu and then you click on enrolled courses. On a laptop, I don't have to click on menu. The menu automatically is here on the left-hand side of the screen. So once you've clicked on enrolled courses, then the course that you have been enrolled to will come up on display. It won't be the Introduction to Umpiring course. It will be the Cricket South Africa Level 1 course. Okay, but for purposes of this demonstration, we obviously can't show you the Level 1 exam questions. So we're going to show you the Introduction to Umpiring exam questions. You click on Start Learning. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to select your region. We are going to select our region as a quiz question. And wherever you are in South Africa, if you are in East London, you click on Border. If you're in Port Elizabeth or Gqeberha, you click on Eastern Province. If you are in Knysna or anywhere in the southwestern districts, you click on Eden. If you are in Cape Town, you click on Western Province. If you are not in South Africa, then also please click on Western Province. Okay, so anyone who is not in South Africa, click on Western Province. So submit quiz. That will basically be submitting where we are from. And then it will tell us that we have submitted our region. That's fine. Then we click on next. When we click on next, it will tell us that we are about to start the Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring exam. And all we then need to do is click on Start Quiz, and we will get into our questions. So very straightforward, a few clicks of a couple of buttons. The most important thing is to copy and paste the username and the password directly from the email that you get from Umpires Universe. Now, for all of us to partake in the Introduction to Umpiring exam, I am going to activate everyone's microphones and activate everyone's cameras. So what you can all do is, if you want to answer a question, then you are prompted to put your hand up, and then I will first hand that is up, I will allow that person to answer the question. So I'm clicking on Start Quiz, and the first thing that you will see is there is a countdown timer on the top right for this introduction to umpiring exam. It starts at 30 minutes and counts down to 0. For the Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring exam, it starts at 90 minutes or 1 hour and 30 minutes and counts down to 0. So please keep an eye on your time while you are busy with your exam, because if you are not finished answering the 69 questions after 90 minutes, it will submit only those answers that you have submitted up until your time is done.
True.
Okay, so an appeal covers all ways of being out. We've got a
Yes,
hand up. Let's see the first hand that was up, Azruddin Syed. And please, ladies and gents, I will be taking questions after the completion of this exam. So don't ask questions now. The hands that are up in the meeting room are to answer the exam questions. So Azruddin Syed, please unmute your microphone and give us the answer to this first question. An appeal covers all ways of being out. Is that
it is
true
true.
or is that false? That is true. Very well done. Thank you. I'm going to click on true and I'm going to click on submit and next. A team can field with 12 players. Abdullah mentioned this earlier in his revision slides. Is that true or is that false? Next hand that is up, Tarun Ahalpara. Tarun, please unmute your microphone and help answer this question.
False.
That is correct. A team can field with a maximum of 11 players. Well done, Tarun. Question number 3, or statement number 3. An umpire may signal 4 byes in one motion to the scorers. Can you signal with one hand up and the other hand going back and forth? Is that true or is that false? Next hand up, Bhavi Modi. Please unmute your microphone, Bhavi,
False.
and answer that question.
False.
That is false, Bhavi. Well done. Thank you. On to the next question. A bowler may change his or her delivery mode without informing an umpire. Is that true or is that false? A bowler may change his or her delivery mode without informing the umpire. Jason is the next hand up. Jason, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
False.
Jason, false is correct. If a bowler changes his or her mode of delivery without informing the umpire, they will be called no ball. So definitely should not be doing that. Next statement, the umpire must only consider the first interception when answering an LBW appeal. Abdullah also covered this in his revision slides. The umpire must only consider the first interception when answering an LBW appeal. Next hand up is Muni Raja. Muni Raja, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours. Muni Raja, are you still there? Umpire must only consider the first interception when answering an LBW appeal. True or false, Muni Raja? Please unmute your microphone. It looks like Muni Raja is no longer with us. So the next hand that is up is Sandeep. Sandeep, please unmute your microphone and answer the question for us. Yes, Sandeep, it is indeed true. Well done. Submit and next. Statement number 6. No runs will be scored if the batter is run out on the 3rd run. I think I mentioned this in one of the lectures where run out was spoken about or presented. The next hand up is Kennedy Bauman. Please tell us, is this true or is this false?
False.
That is correct, Kennedy. Of course, if the batters are run out or one of the batters is run out attempting the third run, the first 2 runs will be scored. Well done, Kennedy. Thank you. Statement number 7. A batter will be out-stumped if the batter kicks the ball onto the stumps. Is this true or is this false? The next hand that is up is Kaushik Kaklotar. Please, if you've answered a question, put your hand down so that we can give others a chance.
It's a true.
That is true. Well done. Very good. So far, everyone is on fire with these true or false questions. Statement number 8. A substitute may act as a wicket keeper. Is this true or is this false? Let's see if we have any new hands up. Phoenix Jordan, please unmute your microphone and give us the answer to this question. Substitute may act as a wicket keeper. Is that true or is that false, Phoenix? Phoenix, are you still with us? Phoenix, I can see your microphone is unmuted. Please go ahead. I think Phoenix is probably having problems with his or her microphone. Phoenix, maybe you want to put your answer in the chat box. Let me read the question once more. A substitute may act as a wicket keeper. True or false? Phoenix, if you can't be heard, yes, we can see your answer. True. There is a disclaimer to the statement. A substitute may act as a wicket keeper with the consent of the umpires. Now, what Abdullah told us earlier, if a statement is not 100% true, then you need to mark it false. So I'm actually not 100% sure if we should mark this true because we are missing the disclaimer here that says a substitute may act as a wicketkeeper with the consent of an umpire or the umpires. So I'm actually going to mark this false. And I think at the end of the exam, they're going to show us which questions we got correct and which questions we got wrong. So we'll be able to see whether this was true or false. Statement number 9, a batter will not be given out if the ball touches an umpire. So imagine the ball is hit straight back in the air towards the umpire. It hits the umpire and lobs up to mid-off. And mid-off takes the catch without the ball touching the ground. This statement says a batter will not be given out in that scenario. Let's check if we've got any new hands up here. Brinshia, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours. Brinshia. Looks like you put your microphone on mute. Okay, go ahead. Brinshia, maybe type your answer into the chat box because we're not hearing you come through on the microphone. Okay, we've already seen a couple of answers in the chat box, which are correct. It is false. The ball stays alive when it hits the umpire,
Tom.
so a catch can be taken. Yes. Who was that?
Yeah, this side fuse.
Yes, Said.
Yeah, last question is false.
Perfect. Thanks, Said. Question 9 is indeed false. Please, let's give all the new hands up an opportunity to answer the questions. Statement number 10. A bowler will be credited with the run out of a batter. Is that true or is that false? A bowler will be credited with the run out of a batter. Sias is a new hand. Sias, please unmute your microphone and the floor is yours. Sias, you are still muted. Please unmute. Okay, looks like Sias is no longer with us or is unable to unmute his microphone. Barath, please unmute your microphone and give us the answer. A bowler will be credited with a run out. True or false? Barath?
False. False.
False. Correct. Bowler does not get credit for a run out. Well done. Statement number 11, the pitch length is the same for all ages, from 5 years old to 105 years old. Is the pitch length the same for all ages? Let's see if we've got a new hand here. Mpelisi Nyati, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours. Mpelisi. I see your microphone is unmuted, Mpelisi. Can we hear you? No, we can't. You can type your answer into the chat box. False. That is
False.
correct.
False.
Well done, Khaleesi. For youth cricket, the pitch length is allowed to be less than the 20.12 meters for senior cricket. Statement number 12. The ball becomes dead when it lodges in the clothing of an umpire. Is that true or is that false? Let's see, any new hands are up. And please, if you have answered the question, put your hand down. Nagendra Vyas. Please answer the question, unmute your microphone. The ball becomes dead when it lodges in the clothing of an umpire. Is that true or is that false?
Yes, it is true.
Let's just double check that, Nagendra. Yes, it is true. It becomes dead when it lodges in the clothing of an umpire or the clothing and equipment of a batter. But it does not become dead if it lodges in the clothing or equipment of a fielder. Well done. Question statement 13. A change of innings will be classified as an interval. A change of innings will be classified as an interval. Let's look for a new name. Piyush Kumar. Piyush, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
False.
Piyush, a change of innings, is that not classified as an interval? Are you sure?
False. False.
It is
Piyush, it is true. Let me take you to a law 11. The following shall be classified as scheduled intervals. Intervals between innings. That is classified as an interval. Okay, so that is true. Let's go back to our exam. True, submit next. Statement number 14. A batter may be given out LBW if the ball pitches outside the leg stump. Abdullah covered this for us earlier in one of the revision slides. Let's find a new hand. Jason, please unmute your microphone if you are a new hand and give us the answer to statement number 14. A batter may be given out LBW if the ball pitches outside leg stump. Jason?
If it's a right-handed batter, then false.
Jason, whether it's a left-hand or a right-handed batter, if the ball pitches outside the leg stump of the striker, it cannot be or should not be given out LBW. So this is false. Just remember that obviously if you have a right-handed batter, then the leg stump is different for a left-handed batter. But the law remains the same. If the ball pitches outside the leg stump of the striker, it should not be given out LBW. Well done. Statement number 15. Dead ball signal is made by extending both arms horizontally. Is that a dead ball signal that I am signaling? True or false? Let's look for a new hand. Regine Kize, please unmute your microphone and give us your answer.
False.
That is indeed false, Reggie. The signal for dead ball we know is crossing our arms at waist height. Statement number 16. Captains are responsible for their team's conduct. Is that true or is that false? Let's look for a new hand. Zimmy is a new hand. Zimmy, please unmute your microphone and give us your answer.
I think it's true.
It is indeed true, Zimmy. Well done. Statement number 16. If I can ask all of those who have answered questions to please lower their hands, so we only see new hands for the questions to follow. Statement number 17. Umpires are the sole judges of fair and unfair play. That is something else that Abdullah mentioned in one of his revision slides. Let's see the new hands. Kaushik Kaklotar, please unmute your microphone and give us the answer to the question. Kaushik? Kaushik, are you still with us? I see your microphone is still
Yes.
muted. Go ahead.
It's
Is that
it's true.
It is true indeed, Kaushik. Thank you. Well done. I'm trying to go a little bit quicker so that we can get through our more questions before the 30 minutes are up. The call of no ball shall override the call of wide. Is this true or
True.
is this false? Thank you. Well done. Please don't shout out answers before I acknowledge who should give the answer. That is indeed true. Statement number 19. A batter can be dismissed from a wide
True.
delivery. Please, ladies and
True.
gentlemen,
That's
let us be respectful to the rest of the candidates who would like to answer questions. So I'm just going to mute everybody, and then only those people who I ask to unmute should give the answer. Okay, thank you. A batter can be dismissed off a wide, correct. Statement number 20, umpires do not need to agree the boundaries with the captains. Is this true or is this false? I'm looking for a new hand. Piyush Kumar, I'm not sure if you've given us an answer yet. Piyush, please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
false.
It is false. They do need to agree the boundaries with the captains. Please mute your microphone once you've answered a question, and please lower your hand. Statement number 21. Injured player may have a substitute at any time. An injured player may have a substitute at any time. Is that true or is that false? Let's see if there are any new hands. Sias, were you successful in answering a question earlier? If not, please unmute your microphone and you can give us the answer to the question. I think you might have had microphone issues. So let's move to VJ. VJ is a new hand. VJ, please give us the answer to the question. An injured player may have a substitute at any time. True or false, VJ?
That's true. True.
That is indeed true, VJ. Thank you. Well done. We've got 9 minutes left to try and get through 13 statements. A bowler's back foot may touch the return crease on delivery. Is that true or is that false? I'm looking for a new hand. No new hands yet. I'll give it another 3 seconds for new hands. If not, I will go to the top of the list. Brinshia, please unmute your microphone and you can give us the answer to this statement. A bowler's back foot may touch the return crease on delivery. True or false? Brinshia, are you still with us? No, let's go to Nagendra. Nagendra, true or false? Please unmute your microphone, Nagendra. Okay, so in the interest of time,
No,
I
sir.
think, well done, Nagendra.
It's false.
That is false. It would be a no ball if they touch the return crease with their back foot. Statement number 23. And what I will do is I will allow anyone to just answer the questions so that we can get through them quicker. Umpires before the toss do not need to determine the times of play. Is that true or is that
False.
false? That is indeed false. They do need to determine the times of play. Statement number 24, umpires to call wide before the ball passes the striker's wicket.
False.
Abdullah mentioned this.
False.
False. A lot of falses coming through there. Well done to all of you.
False.
Statement number 25. Let me read the statement, please. Bowlers and umpire to stand anywhere where he or she feels comfortable. What are we thinking here?
True.
False.
Let us go and see what the law says. We've got a few truths, we've got a few falses. So the umpire shall stand where he or she can best see any act upon which his or her decision may be required.
Wow.
Subject to this overriding consideration, the bowlers and umpire shall stand in a position so as not to interfere with either the bowler's run-up or the striker's view. So it is not just where you feel like standing, so that will be false. Okay. Statement number 26, an umpire may give a batter out without appeal. That is correct. Umpire there needs to be an appeal for an umpire to give a batter out. 27, a fielder may return to the field without the consent of an umpire. That is all false. Well done to all of you. A batter may retire at any time during his innings. Is that true or is that false?
True.
Okay, let's go to the law and see what the law says. Is it absolutely any time or does it have to be at a specific time during the match? It's in law 25, batter retiring. A batter may retire at any time during his or her innings when the ball is dead. Okay, so that statement in isolation is not true. Okay. If a statement is not 100% true, then we need to mark it false because batter needs to wait when the ball is dead before retiring. Okay. So just be careful with the true or false statements. Sometimes they give you half a sentence and they put a full stop. Then it's not true. Okay. We need the full sentence for it to be true. Okay, 29. The bowlers and umpire to call play after any interval or interruption.
True.
That is indeed true. Okay, well done. Statement number 30. A striker may set off for a run from in front of the popping crease. Is that true or is that false?
True.
I made the example of David Miller or any other batter who bats outside of the crease. When they hit the ball, they don't have to go back into their crease to start the run. They can run from where they've hit the ball. That is indeed true. Okay, we've got 5 questions left, 3 minutes
False.
remaining. A leg bye can be scored if the batter does not attempt to play at the ball. I heard a lot of falses. That is correct. Well done to all of you. The umpire must give the batter out LBW if no shot was offered. Must give the batter out LBW.
False.
False. There are a lot of other things to consider before giving a batter out LBW. That is false is correct. Please put your microphone on mute if you are not answering a question. Statement number 33. It is not against the spirit of the game to dispute an umpire's decision.
False.
That is indeed very false. Statement number 34. The bowlers and umpire to call and signal no ball if there are more than 2 fielders behind the popping crease.
False.
Okay, I'm hearing a false there. Why would that be false?
Because
Any umpire
it's
can
strikers
give
and
any umpire can give that.
Let's go check if it is the bowlers in umpire or the strikers in umpire or any umpire who gives no ball there. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to check it on the laws of cricket app. If the rest of you can please mute your microphones to prevent disturbances. Let me go into my app and it's law 28.4. Bear with me. Yeah, 28.4. Limitation of onside fielders. At the instant of the bowler's delivery, there shall not be more than 2 fielders behind the popping crease on the onside. A fielder will be considered to be behind the popping crease. Okay. In the event of infringement, the strikers in umpire shall call and signal no ball. Okay. So then this is false. Well done. Last question. Teams can distract opponents verbally. True or false? Is that allowed? It is unfair play for a team or a player to distract opponents verbally. So false. So when you get to the last question, it will be 69 questions in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam. You will click on Submit Quiz and it will be marking your exam in the background. And if you have passed, what will pop up is there will be a questionnaire that you can submit if you want to rate the course. If you don't want to, you can just click on the X button. So I'm just going to rate the course 5 stars and then close. I'm not going to give any comments. I'm just going to close. And it is a bit strange that it doesn't give you your marks if you've passed. All you need to do is click on the black button. It changes to blue view certificate when you hover over it and you click on view certificate, and it will take a while to load, but it should load immediately after a few seconds. And at the same time, it will be emailed to training@wpcua.co.za. So this is what the email, the certificate looks like. It won't say introduction to umpiring. It will say level 1 umpiring. And it will obviously have your name on it, not the name of anyone else. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is as easy as it is to log in and to start your Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring exam. I am now going to go into the chat box to see what questions were asked while Abdullah or I were presenting. The first question was asked by Jason. It says, if the back foot touches the return crease when the bowler is bowling, do we first give a warning to the bowler, or is it a no ball straight away? Jason, it is a no ball straight away every time a bowler makes a foot fault. So if it is the back foot touching the return crease, that is immediately call and signal no ball. And if you are playing a limited overs match where the playing conditions have free hits, then it would also be a free hit. Okay. Piyush Kumar says the ball first hit the pad, then touched the bat, and the wicketkeeper caught it. Will it be out? Yes, Piyush, it will be out. Remember on last week, Wednesday, when Abdullah went through the 9 modes of dismissal, bold is the big boss. Court is the second boss. So court will take precedence over all other dismissals possible in one delivery unless the other dismissal is bold. So in your scenario, the batter might have been given out LBW, but because the ball touched the bat and then went in the air and the wicketkeeper caught it, that will be out caught. Even though the ball hit the pad first, we don't worry about which happened first. If court is involved and another mode of dismissal is possible, and that second mode of dismissal is not bold, then the striker will be out caught. Okay. Kartikeyan says, may I know how much time we will have to answer those 69 questions in one attempt? 90 minutes. 1.5 hours is the maximum time you have to answer the 69 questions in the Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring exam. Sandra Freaks wants to know if we will get this recording as well. Yes, Sandra, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. South African time latest, the recording will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. Thank you for all of you who answered the questions on the chat box. I'm just going through all of them to make sure that I haven't missed out on any questions. Most of you, I'm sure, got these answers correct. Well done. Shows that you've been listening and following and are prepared for almost the level 1 exam. You definitely were ready for the intro exam. Are we going to get the notes that Abdullah covered today? Yes, Regim Kize, when I send the link to the recording of tonight's lecture, I will also include a link to download the revision slides that Abdullah presented. Okay, thank you, Courtney. You are welcome. Sandeep, is there any restriction for toss? If yes, explain the same. Sandeep, the toss, I'm not sure what you mean by restriction. Are you still online? Please ask or expand on your question. What restriction are you asking about in terms of the toss? Sandeep?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, I found that questions. That's why I asked you. I'm also confused about this question. Actually, uh, how it's possible? Is there any restriction for toss?
So, Sandeep, if you go back to our slides in law 13, you will read up on everything you need to know about the toss. So there you will find whatever restrictions you might be asked about, maybe the time restrictions. So, hang on. I was on the slide, but I didn't click on it. So, law 13, let's go back to the slide on the toss. So, Sandeep,
Yeah.
maybe the restriction is time-based, not earlier than 30 minutes, nor later than 15 minutes before the scheduled start of
Yes.
or rescheduled start of the match. Uh,
Yes, true.
both captains and either or both umpires need to be at the toss.
Yeah. That is
Okay,
right. Yeah, I
happy.
got it.
Cool. Okay, so Azruddin asks, we are from India, so how can we pay the fees of this course if we don't have a PayPal account? Azruddin, I've got a friend and colleague, Harsha, who's an umpire in India. He's done this course with us. He did level 1, level 2, and level 3 with us. He has got a PayPal account. So for those of you in India who don't have a PayPal account or you don't know anyone with a PayPal account, just reach out to me on WhatsApp. I'll give you the contact details of Harsha, and you can pay Harsha 3,000 Indian rupees, and Harsha will pay $30 to our PayPal account on your behalf. Bharath
Sure.
asks about Alauddin Palika. Alauddin, unfortunately, was unable to join us for any one of our 6 lectures. He is very busy even after the World Cup, but he has promised us that during our Cricket South Africa Level 2 umpiring course, which starts on Tuesday, the 7th of April, he will be able to join us. We're not sure which lecture he'll join us for. There are 6 Cricket South Africa Level 2 umpiring course lectures, all of them in April, Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting on the 7th of April, 7, 9, 14, 16, 21, and 23 April. Those will be the dates for the level 2 lectures. One of those 6 lectures, Alauddin Palika will join us. It will obviously be advertised on our WhatsApp groups. Piyush says the fielder had already thrown the ball, then the second fielder threw it, and the wicket was broken. Will it be out? Piyush, is that a relay throw from one fielder to the other fielder, and then the second fielder hits the wickets? If that's the case, yes, the wicket was fairly put down with the batter out of his or her crease. That will be out, run out. Regime Kize says, I only managed to join today's class. Did I miss on the previous 6 classes? Yes, Reggie, this is the 7th and final lecture. All the lectures were unique lectures. I do have links to the recordings of the previous 6 lectures that are on the email that I sent today. Reggie, if you haven't received any emails from me, then please put your email address in the chat box. I will add it to the mailing list, and tomorrow I will be sending course material for everyone to download if they still haven't downloaded it. It will be the full presentation that we went through the 6 lectures. It will be the revision slides that we went through today. It will be the match preparation presentation that we went through last week, Wednesday. It will be the laws of cricket PDF, and obviously the links to the 7 lecture recordings that are on YouTube. Trusha says, thank you for this informative course. Appreciate your time and knowledge. Trusha, you are welcome, and all the best for your exam. Tola Pono says, can you talk about the umpire's dress code? Tola, the dress code was covered in the match preparation presentation last week, Wednesday. So if you go to the lecture number 6, I will post in the chat box a link to when I started presenting the match preparation presentation. Just hang on while I find that. So let's talk about dress code. That's exactly how I started it. So that is where you can watch from. So I'm putting that link in the chat box now. So Bhavi, you are already on the mailing list. So you have been getting all the emails, and you will continue to get all the emails. Dolly, I'm not sure if I've got your email address on the chat box on the mailing list. So I'm now going to just open my mailing list and add it to the list so that you can receive emails going forward. Okay. How long is this certificate valid for, Sandra? It is valid until if and when there are massive changes to the laws. So in 2017, there were massive changes to the laws of cricket. So any and all certificates prior to 2017 are no longer valid. Yes, there are going to be updates to the laws effective 1 October 2026, but it's not a massive change. It's not a new code of laws that's coming out. It's just a new version or a new edition. So your Cricket South Africa Level 1 umpiring certificate will be valid for I don't know how many years, but until the laws are overhauled completely. I'm not sure if and when that will next happen. Another email address has been posted into the chat box. Piyush, you are already on the mailing list. Oba King, let me check. You are also already on the mailing list. Sandeep says, Tom, if I go through the PayPal link which you sent, is it not possible to pay the exam fee through this link? Yes, Sandeep, it is, and that is the preferred mode of payment for those who are not in South Africa to pay using the PayPal link of $30. There are a lot of people who don't have a PayPal account, and I know in some countries PayPal is not allowed, so they cannot create their own accounts. If you do have PayPal, or if you know somebody who's got PayPal, yes, please use the link that is on all the emails to pay the $30 exam fee. Azruddin says, do we have to pay another payment for level 2 and level 3? Azruddin, yes, this $30 is for the Cricket South Africa level 1 exam. If you do pass Cricket South Africa's level 1 exam, you can join us for the Cricket South Africa level 2 course, and the exam fee for level 2 is $35. For those of you outside of South Africa, it's 350 rands for those of you in South Africa. If you pass level 2 and join us for level 3, the exam fee for level 3 is 400 rands for those of you in South Africa, and $40 for those of you outside of South Africa. Bavi, I have answered the question, so I'm not sure why you want me to type it in the chat box. Level 2 equals $35. Level 3 equals $40. Oh, I typed 30. Sorry about that. 40. Okay, VJ hasn't received any emails. I am now going to add VJ's email address onto the mailing list. VJ, your email address is in the mailing list. I did. Let me just double check. Yeah, you did get the lecture 5 recording email, lecture 6 recording email, payment lecture 7 reminder email. So VJ, just check your spam folder. Maybe my emails are going through to your spam. Also, please check that your inbox is not full. I've had a lot of candidates whose inboxes are full and my emails have been bouncing back. Kaushik, let me check.
Sure, I'll verify that. Thanks for that.
Okay, you're welcome. Kaushik, I did not have your email address in the mailing list, so I've added it now. Right, let's go to the hands up in the meeting room for any live questions to be posed. Nagendra, your hand is up. Please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours. Nagendra, are you still with us? So while we're waiting for Nagendra, he's put his hand down. Reggie has asked a question in the chat box. Can I pass level 1 even though I only attended lecture 7? Please include other lecture notes for me when you email. Reggie, what is your email address, Reggie? I don't know if I've got your email address because you say you haven't received anything from me. I'm just typing Kize and Reggie into my mailing list spreadsheet, and I don't see anything coming up there. Reggie, yes, you can pass the exam if you study. It doesn't matter if you've attended lectures or not. It matters your cricket knowledge. I've just added your email address to the mailing list. So Reggie, I did say when I sent the lecture reminder on WhatsApp earlier today that the 7th lecture is the most important because the revision slides that Abdullah went through, basically, if you study those revision slides inside out, back to front, through and through, you will pass Cricket South Africa's level 1 umpiring exam. But of course, if you want a broader understanding of all the laws, then it's a good idea for you to go through all the 6 lectures that you have missed. Okay. Jason, you have got your hand up. Do you have a question that you want to ask live? Please unmute your microphone and go ahead.
If the batter slips while he's playing a shot and his body knocks the stumps over, but the ball goes for 4, what happens?
So if the body knocks the stumps over, then that will be out, hit wicket. As long as it was in the motion of playing the shot or starting his or her first run immediately, then the boundary 4 will not count because the ball becomes dead at as soon as the wicket falls. So if the ball goes over the boundary before he steps on his wicket, then him stepping on his wickets would not be in the act of playing the shot or immediately taking off for the first run. So if the ball goes over the boundary, that'll be 4, 5, maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds after the batter had a chance to play it at the shot. So then they wouldn't be out, hit wicket. But if they hit their stumps in the motion of playing the shot, then they will be out, hit wicket. As soon as the batter is dismissed, the ball becomes dead. So then the ball crossing the boundary would be irrelevant. No runs would be scored. I hope that answers your question, Jason.
Thank you.
John Engelbrecht, can you only do the level 1 course or must you do level 2, 3, and 4? John, entirely up to you. You can start umpiring in South Africa with only the level 1 certificate as your qualification. It is the entry level qualification. Please note that all around South Africa, you cannot umpire Premier League, men's Premier League cricket with a level 1. You need level 3 to umpire men's Premier League club cricket. So with your level 1, you can only umpire schools cricket and you can umpire men's lower league cricket, so not the Premier League. So it is in your interest, if you want to progress through the leagues in whichever province that you're umpiring, that you get level 1, then level 2, then level 3. You also need to have on-field experience for you to get the Cricket South Africa level 2 umpiring certificate. We'll talk more about it in the Cricket South Africa level 2 course. But if you have no experience, or you do have experience but you're not in South Africa, then you won't get, after passing the Cricket South Africa level 2 exam, you won't get a Cricket South Africa level 2 certificate. You will get a Western Province Cricket Umpires Association level 2 certificate. You can only get a Cricket South Africa level 2 certificate if you pass the Cricket South Africa level 2 exam and you are a member of an umpires association in South Africa, and you've been umpiring for a period that the association requires you to. So some associations are different. Some associations require you to have 5 matches worth of experience before you can write your level 2. Some require you to have 6 months worth of experience. Some require you to have 1 year's worth of experience. Western Province Cricket Umpires Association, we allow our umpires, as long as you've joined the association and you have umpired in 3 matches, then you can write the Cricket South Africa Level 2 exam. And if you pass it, you will get a Cricket South Africa Level 2 certificate. I hope that answers your question, John. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not see any more questions or comments in the chat box. I do not see any more hands up in the meeting room. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for your attendance and your interaction over the last 3.5 weeks. This lecture has been recorded and will be posted in our YouTube channel by 11 a.m. South African time tomorrow morning. I wish you all the best for your Cricket South Africa Level 1 exam when it comes along on March the 26th at 9 a.m. South African time. And before we leave, I would like all of you who are still on the call to please switch on your cameras so we can see who we've been interacting with for the last 3.5 weeks, and we can all say good luck to each other for your exam and your umpiring careers. And so that when I see you umpiring a big match on television in 5 years' time, I can say, I know that guy, or I know that lady. And we can all also wave thank you and goodbye to each other. So ladies and gents, thank you once again for your attendance and your interaction. All the best for the exam when it comes, and all the best for your umpiring career when it officially starts. Thank you and goodbye.